So now that I'm super popular and uber famous and everyone loves me, I can finally make public posts to ask you all questions. Today's video will be the very first audience requested video in the history of the Coke Francis extended universe. So thank you very much to Duck Collar Fanatic for suggesting this movie that I ended up getting way too invested in, and I actually have something to say about it. Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, Coke Francis. I'm an editor, comedy writer, drag artist, and I'm here because I'm still in trouble for giving my mom's computer a virus in 2007. In 2005, Lifetime produced a nice movie called Seduction, His Secret Life, starring Jeremy Sumpter, the world's first simpable Peter Pan. Not my words, by the way. I was busy simping for Michelle Pfeiffer that year. Anyway, the movie is a haunting coming-of-age tale about a young man whose bright future gets kicked to the curb when an addiction to internet porn consumes his life. Porn ruins relationships with his family, friends, girlfriend, and this absolute psycho bitch right here. This movie became the poster child for Lifetime's reputation for making melodramatic, so bad they're good movies. Yes, good bitches, this is the movie that inspired all the content consumed exclusively by postmodern ironic gays for years to come. Seduction was directed by Tom McLaughlin, who, at the risk of outing my real identity to everyone, was actually a professor at the film school I graduated from. A film school so prestigious that it inspired one of its students to play dress-up and roast conservatives on the internet as a hobby. I unfortunately never had Sir McLaughlin as a professor myself, but I've heard nothing but great things about the man behind Friday the 13th 6, Jason Lives. And it absolutely tickles me to know that he is the mastermind behind this incredible piece of cinema, which, as I said earlier, I got way too invested in. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of watching a very tired drag queen talk about nerd shit forever, I ask that you please sneak into your family's computer room and not bother to lock the door. Open Internet Explorer, wait 20 minutes for your favorite site to load, and stare longingly into the eyes of your big titty goth GF. When your mom inevitably barges in on you, jump up in surprise because you've already unzipped your pants, so why not go ahead and dick slap those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Right off the bat, we're shown the ending of this movie where beaten, bloody Justin sneaks into a school after dark and throws himself into the swimming pool. So we know where he ends up, but the next 87 minutes are going to explain why and how. We're also introduced to a man named Charles Bornstein, an editor who somehow became Union. The reason he ends up in that swimming pool is because apparently he is a top member of his school swim team. We also meet his super Christian girlfriend Amy, his brother, his dad, his mom. Wait, hold up.
Hold up, hold up!
They didn't tell me he was gonna have a hot mom. That being said, I do wish the dad was hotter, but you know what, we'll take what we can get in a Lifetime movie that cost like $10 to make. Anyway, Justin finds out that he just made state championships, signaling the bright future he's about to throw away. Oh yeah, and the soundtrack is the most 2005 shit I've ever heard. This is where we meet Monica, local thought and future psychopath, who thinks she's special for wanting to bang Jeremy Sumpter. You can tell she's a Lifetime movie Jezebel by the way she shows her midriff and has vaguely ethnic hair. I love how Justin's mom hints that she got him lots of phone numbers, supposedly, and then his brother makes fun of him for dating Amy, but then the second he actually starts to express his sexual attraction to girls, everybody's horrified by it, because right after this scene in the car, we're introduced to Justin's deep, dark secret. Going into his Harry Potter-sized closet of a room, chugging energy drinks, and looking at pictures of non-nude women. This includes a website literally called Monica's Page, which has ads for generic brand ibuprofen. Monica.jpg is my new drag name. Also, apparently, Justin's online nickname is Stroke Man. When I first read that, I thought his friend was giving him an order. So, Justin Justin's incredibly dumb friends invite him to a party where Monica will supposedly be, and because this is 2005, he doesn't realize that this is definitely a catfish situation, right? Wait, the party is actually real? These types of invites are never from an actual guy at your school or a girl you're into. Like, this is always a catfish type situation. This dude is lucky he's not dead or being cornered by Chris Hansen. I do wish Chris Hansen would show up here though, because apparently this is a porn party where a bunch of children gather in a room together and watch porn as if they're watching 90 Day Fiancé. All the while, Becky with the bad brows is shooting glances with our hero. Clearly, Amy is super uncomfortable, and honestly, I totally would be too. And I was in a Rocky Horror Shadowcast back in the day.
It's not that I don't ever want to make love with you. Just that when we do, I want it to be magical.
Sweetie, it never will be. So Justin's hot mom finally catches her pervert son in the act, meaning she spots him looking at fully clothed, big-breasted women and not even jerking off.
Stephen, wake up.
What?
Justin's looking at porn.
Oh, okay, good night, hon.
Correct response! And she spends a sleepless night in absolute horror knowing that her 16-year-old heterosexual son saw tits. Could you imagine if she saw the average Instagram feed 10 years after this movie came out? She's all,
I don't want him seeing girls like that.
even though the average bra size is a 36C. God, the computer startup noise right here feels like stepping into a bubble bath that is exactly the right temperature. Something else we learn from this movie is that apparently looking at boobs makes you a slower swimmer. Even if you shave your legs, you'll still be weighed down by your massive boner. Can I joke about a 16-year-old's massive boner? I mean, I got called a pedo on my last video, so when in Rome. Justin's poor girlfriend is trying to talk to him, but he simply can't shake the images of clothed boobies out of his head. Every average-looking girl at his high school reminds him of them. I mean, I get it. Recently, I hadn't realized how long it had been since I jerked off until the other day I actually found myself being attracted to Chris Evans. It's very embarrassing, but an easy fix. If Justin actually jerked off to the stuff he looks at, then he probably wouldn't be having this issue. But the movie doesn't want you to know that people do that, I think. Like, there's never even a shot in this film that implies masturbation. Not even a close-up of his hand moving towards his pants or anything. He just chugs energy drinks and stares at clothed women night after night. Here's another aggressively 2000s scene where Justin uses Amy's Walkman and they have a debate over whether Switchfoot or Green Day is better.
Switchfoot's for altar boys. Gotta go with green.
I'm inclined to side with Monica on this, but considering this movie came out after American Idiot, I'm gonna have to politely disagree. So the dad talks gently to Justin about what his mom just saw, which was the right thing to do, but he didn't like get his point across in a real coherent, non-white dad way. I think what he was trying to say is this is normal, but don't neglect other things about relationships. But just because I'm not too stupid to not understand it doesn't mean Justin isn't. So he wakes up at 2 a.m. again to look at boobs and finally thinks to close the door this time. This is where his ability to think ends though, because he's looking at boobs on his girlfriend's Palm Pilot. And holy shit, that is a very old-fashioned sentence. And he does this at school with people around. Justin at email is also my new drag name.
Just sending myself an email so I don't forget
Forget what?
how beautiful you are.
Damn, smooth move, X-Lax. Imagine how many ladies he'll bag when ChatGPT comes out in 18 years. So now his little brother Alex catches him in the ritual with his dick and balls still entirely in his pants, which are zipped up. And little fella threatens to tell on Justin if he doesn't show him what he was just looking at. And then the cut from Alex looking at porn to his face at the dinner table is just chef's kiss. That's where Charles Bornstein earns his union membership. Alex happens to be super based and doesn't rat out his older brother.
Hey,
I just shot down 3 more Nazi planes.
Someone give this kid an Oscar. Justin shows the guy who invited him to the porn party pictures of people in latex, and said friend is not having it. Showing other underage kids actual videos of people banging is fine, but implied bondage? You're on thin fucking ice, Justorino. Also, once again, this is 2005. How do none of these computers have a virus yet? I used LimeWire once in 2007 and it gave my mom's computer rabies. Speaking of moms, check out this low-key Oedipal fantasy with the mom. Wait, is he gonna start fapping to the mom?
Nice.
This wholesome memory looks more like porn than the actual porn in the movie. I would honestly love to know why Amy even trusts Justin to use her Palm Pilot. I have absolutely nothing to hide from my partner, and he's not allowed to go within 5 feet of my phone, unless I make him greet the DoorDash driver because I don't want to put on pants. Back when you could have starter guns inside of a school. Sorry, coach, it's really hard to swim and I've got this massive fucking dick weighing me down. Alright, no more jokes about Peter Pan's Peter. Girl_02.jpg is also my new drag name. Virgin vaginas, there is no way that's legal.
Justin's only chance at a good college is in the pool.
Wow, rude. Why not just send him to a technical high school at this point? Also, if he wants to be a real professional swimmer, then he better start filling out his criminal record pronto. Virgin vaginas is a great start, I guess. This pool scene is kinda cool, I guess. Like, he's drowning in his addiction. Okay, I get it. But it's also one of the dumbest things I've seen in a long time because, again, Justin isn't this sex or porn addict that the movie is making him out to be. Not yet, anyway. He's just a normal-ass teenage boy with hormones. The only reason he's going down this path of self-destruction is because he's a horny kid with no outlet and nobody around him to talk about sex or pornography in a healthy way. So this whole artsy scene is never going to have the impact that it wants to. It's not like there's a Bob Fosse of porn, right? So unfortunately, mom and dad found virgin vaginas in Alex's room, and when they asked Justin if he's the one who showed it to him, based Alex takes the fall and says that he found it. Alex is the new MVP of this movie. Well, he was, until he helped his hot mom install parental control blocks on Justin's computer to stop her son from being her son. Meanwhile, Justin's using the computer at a fucking convenience store, which I did not know was legally possible, especially after 9/11. Can we get together? Shit, maybe swimming is his only chance at getting into a good school. And so he ignores his girlfriend once again and plans a little escapade with Bad Brows, who, and I'm just gonna come out and say it, isn't as hot as Amy. Is that too Trumpy?
No, not too Trumpy.
Folks, I'm just gonna come out and say it. She's not as hot as Amy, okay? The way I see it, he's falling into the young straight guy trap of cheating with somebody who's more available, but not necessarily more attractive. But I do wonder if that was done intentionally for this movie. There's no way the Lifetime producers cast these young ladies for their roles simply based on their hotness, right? Anyway, Justin feels a clothed broad boob for the first time and turns her down. It's almost as if he doesn't actually want to do any of the things he sees on the internet, because that's the whole point of having fantasies. Porn is selling a fantasy. And this movie is the porn equivalent of saying that violent video games cause school shootings. Justin is given quite literally a rude awakening when he wakes up to find that his computer has been moved into the family room. According to some exposition from earlier, apparently this family doesn't have a lot of money, but Justin and Alex both get their own computers. They don't just have the trademarked computer room in the house with one computer that everyone shares. Holy fucking shit, I'm old. We would gather into the computer room and watch Charlie the Unicorn. Alright, Grandma, let's get you to bed.
I'm sorry for being so random lately.
Okay, so now Justin's friends who invited him to a porn party are calling him Leather Boy and bullying him, all because he showed this idiot non-nude pictures of people in bondage. Oh my god, this is just getting ridiculous. Oh yeah, and Hot Mom is now consulting her Karen-looking ass friend about what to do because talking to her sons might traumatize them for life. And her friend is talking about her husband's porn addiction, how it ruined their marriage, etc. And look, I know that there are people out there who do have a porn addiction, that it does ruin their relationships. That part of this is actually perfectly reasonable and shouldn't be dismissed. But you could also have an addiction to alcohol or gambling or whatever the fuck. Most of the people who participate in those activities aren't also addicts. Lifetime ought to know this, considering their target audience is literally wine moms. Also, I can't stop laughing at the fact that she can't even say out loud that her husband was masturbating. But later she mentions that
Justin's just going through a phase. Don't all teenage boys do this?
but Hot Mom is having none of it. So during a hot and heavy study session, Justin makes a move which Amy is not down for. And so he has a little fuckboy tantrum over the fact that Amy doesn't want to bang. And you know what? She's allowed to not want to bang.
If all you want is a friend with benefits, then maybe you should find someone else.
Based Amy. Now, excuse me as I prepare to watch yet another white family have an argument in the home and garden section of Walmart.
Problem with pornography.
No, Dr. Phil, I don't.
He really just called this bitch Dr. Phil. She's telling him how her friend gave her all this insight into this sort of thing, but conveniently leaves out the fact that she said,
Justin's just going through a phase. Don't all teenage boys do this?
Just going, you stupid dork.
"How dare you? This kid saved your ass, dude. Oh my god, I'm getting way too invested in this movie. Tag yourself, I'm Tender Toes." So here's the official shift in tone because the movie finally realized that it was starting to get good and now has to pivot in order to fulfill Lifetime's agenda. So his teammates feign concern even though none of them would actually ever give a shit, and Justin lashes out at them against this proto-Twilight color correction. And now he takes this shit into the library with people around, and now I know what his mom meant when she said swimming is the only chance he's got, especially given that he's been writing the same damn history paper for like 5 years. What I found interesting about this scene though is that he's sitting right next to the girl he's into while looking at her 2005 version of OnlyFans. That's actually a sign of a real porn addiction, I think. I wouldn't know. Mom and dad find out that their idiot son actually managed to hack through the library firewall, which is by far the most unrealistic aspect of this movie. Even if he wanted to look at porn in the library that badly, he is way too stupid to figure out how to do that. So even though Justin fully admits to his parents what he was doing and accepts the consequences and tells them that he can and wants to stop, they insist that only a therapist can help him and not, you know, being parents and talking to him for a second. I mean, both would help, but therapists are expensive, and once again, they mentioned earlier that they don't have a lot of money. Who knew decent parenting could be a great life discount? I also love this withdrawal symptom dream sequence that Justin has, because even in his dreams, these women are still fully clothed. But he decides to make that dream a reality by actually buying porn with his mom's credit card. How fucking stupid is this kid? Oh my god. So now that he's single, even though he's technically grounded for the rest of the semester, Justin goes to visit Monica at her pretty nice house. She's also the most confident girl I've ever seen because she wears my depressive episode outfit to seduce a guy she wants to bang in her parents' bed. But once again, once Justin is actually in a situation where he gets to bang, he gets cold feet and dips.
I'm sorry. This isn't how I pictured it would be.
See, that's exactly the problem with porn here. He pictured her staying fully clothed like all the women he sees on the internet, but the moment Monica takes her shirt off, someone call a preacher. So Monica does not take this well, and what the fuck? They did not set this up at all. I guess now she can make use of that ibuprofen sponsorship. Wait a minute. Is that hentai? Okay. That's crossing a line. Now I can see why his family is pissed. Hot Mom finds out that Justin used her credit card to buy porn, which seems to have finally infected the computer with a virus, and it goes down about as well as you would expect. I actually do appreciate this scene of Justin and his mom in the car because she's talking about how her biggest issue with this is not being able to trust him, which is actually totally reasonable. If he was doing anything nefarious behind her back, she'd probably feel the same way. And I'm sure most of us can relate to this scene because most of us have had this kind of talk with our parents at some point. So I kind of wish that Moverino here could have leaned into that aspect more than the whole porn is evil thing, because they immediately follow up this scene with Justin telling Amy that he wants to start going to church with her.
That's pretty radical.
I need to get radical.
But just as things finally start to get hunky-dory, our beloved idiot group of jocks beats the living shit out of Justin because of what he supposedly did to Monica's head. In fact, they beat the living color out of him too. And so we're finally caught up to where we began. We know exactly the path that led our hero down this road, and now he's ready to die as he lived, soaking wet. I said I'd stop. I'm sorry. But at the very last minute, he thinks of all the people who shamed him for looking at boobs along the way, which gives him a last burst of hope. It's the one kind of porn Lifetime is okay with. Inspiration porn. Oh, and in case you were unsure what the movie was trying to tell us, here's Kelly Lynch with a quick PSA.
So talk to your kids.
Oh, you mean exactly how you didn't do? Based off the fan recommendation and everything else I had read about this movie, I was honestly expecting a lot worse. Like, okay, obviously the movie is super dumb and the whole anti-porn thing is super cringe. It has all the hallmarks of a bad made-for-TV movie, which is exactly what gave it its reputation. But premise-wise, was it really that bad? And how far exactly was Professor McLaughlin and his team able to go, given the premise and the network that it aired on? There are weird small nuggets of goodness here. I appreciate the fact that in one way this is a movie about a totally normal teenage boy who's experiencing sexual frustration and doesn't have anybody to talk to about it. And the ones he does talk to are either completely clueless about sex or busy shaming him for nothing aside from being 16 and horny. That's like if every time my dog whined for me to give him pizza, I'd go, no, not for you. Oh, and you know what? You're fucking disgusting for even thinking about that, you absolute pervert. If anyone said that to my perfect boy, their teeth would be buried in my front yard. Basically what happened here is that everyone shamed Peter Pan for growing up and having normal emotions and urges. Overshadowing these nugs is the whole anti-porn theme that Lifetime was clearly trying to peddle. Unfortunately, no matter how many other things you have going on, anything anti-porn is inevitably going to fall into the whole puritanical sex is bad and will ruin your life thing. And as I said earlier, the unintentional comedy that was born out of this movie is what made it a cult classic. But there is a case to be made that some of that accidental comedy might be more self-aware than you think. See, back in the 80s, Professor McLaughlin built his career by shopping around a number of comedy and horror scripts that he wanted to direct. Eventually, this landed him a job directing Friday the 13th Part 6. Apparently aware of McLaughlin's comedy horror shtick, Paramount decided that they wanted this installment to be more tongue-in-cheek than its predecessors. I didn't think you could possibly make the Friday the 13th franchise even more tongue-in-cheek than it already was, but this was a task that certainly wasn't too daunting for our director. Knowing his directorial history, this has led a lot of fans of Cyber Seduction to believe that he intentionally played up the melodramatic, sensational aspects of the script in order to create an intentional so bad it's good movie. Now, intentional so bad they're good movies are not usually the hits that the filmmakers expect. They're like film adaptations of video games. The film might capture certain essences from the game, but the overall movie will be anywhere from mid to terrible. Real so bad they're good movies are supposed to be grown grown organically, all natural, no preservatives, free range. If only someone could have told that to the folks behind Repo the Genetic Opera, a movie I love with all my heart that is undoubtedly awful, and their attempt at making an intentional so bad it's good movie was as disastrous as you could expect. See, I don't tend to judge movies necessarily based off of quality, cast, aesthetic, whatever. Okay, yes, I do. Obviously, I do. After all, I went to the film school that employs the man behind this movie. But above all, the most crucial aspect of filmmaking to me is entertainment value. And let me tell you, my co-producer and I had an absolute blast watching this movie together. I would rather watch a terrible movie that I have an opinion on than a mid movie that I feel nothing for. It's the reason the Pauly Shore Pinocchio is so much more fun and funny than what Robert Zemeckis and his love for cold, dead, uncanny valley eyes did with the same character. If the theories about cyber seduction are true, that the director intentionally set out to make a so bad it's good movie, he is one of the rare few that succeeded. He is to good bad movies as The Last of Us is to video game adaptations. This movie is so iconic that it gave Lifetime a lifetime reputation, being the 70th movie they produced. I repeat, Cyber Seduction, His Secret Life is the 70th movie Lifetime has produced since 1987. Since the release of this film, 791 more movies have been produced with the Lifetime label. Oh, you're a Lifetime fan? Name 3 more of their movies other than this one. I'll wait. The general consensus from most of the people who have seen this movie, however, is that it's a Bible-thumping propaganda film peddled by the religious right to warn parents of the dangers of internet pornography and loose women, that it's the porn version of Reefer Madness, an actual propaganda film that was just a racist excuse to defend the timber industry, and another film that became a cult classic for obvious reasons. Given the other dreck that Lifetime has put out over the span of 861 movies, it's understandable that upon first viewing and not knowing the backstory of the director, most people actually took this movie seriously. And let me be abundantly clear, this movie is very, very bad. Like, in pretty much every way. Aside from the fact that it is one of the funniest things I've seen in a while, and knowing Professor McLaughlin, he probably knew exactly how bad it was. I mean, just look at the guy. Does he look like an anti-porn crusader to you? He's the son of a magician and studied mime in Paris under the Marcel Marceau. Mimes might look inherently asexual, but let me tell you, those freaks get down. And you know what I can get down with? The winning comment from the last video. Now, the comment section in my last video was interesting to say the least, but my favorite was a 2-part response to a very long chain. Context: longtime viewer left a very positive comment, and some troll from the depths of 4chan responded with a thesis paper including hot takes such as racism is a conspiracy theory. Hilarity ensued, and OP came back to respond with this. The Lost One says, "What the fuck? I leave a couple of comments to help push your channel, go about my Saturday afternoon chores, get drunk, watch RiffTrax' commentary of the movie A Talking Cat, drunkenly buy a breakfast sandwich machine on Amazon that I don't need, tell one of my dogs that the other dog has been talking smack behind her back because I like the drama this causes, wake up with a headache, start questioning if I'm ever going to learn to be better at sentence composition because I'm not the most bestest at English, check this comment and see that I started something?" Clearly, several comments have been removed and I've missed some fireworks. My apologies. But this is exactly what I was getting at. Non-free-thinking zombies regurgitating talking points, because they're the victims. Insert eye roll emoji here. You said I was begging for it, but I don't see your original comment. I assume YouTube took it down, my friend. I can only imagine the real zingers you threw at me, but I gladly stand by what I said, nor am I impressed by your other comments that are still there. Since you have an issue with what I said, here's how I'm going to approach your nonsense. Donate $40 to Trans Texas in your honor, so now they will have your name on their records. Hugs and kisses. Thank you so much for your donation, you absolute Giga Chad, and my sincerest apologies that all of this fuckery occurred underneath your post. If you would like to see more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or TikTok. My name for both is @QueenCokeFrancis. There's still a link in my Instagram bio to donate to Trans Lifeline, and you can find all the donation links for charities and organizations that I mentioned in my last video. YouTube is finally allowing me to make community posts, so I'll be posting polls, questions, and general updates for all good bitches, new and returning. If you haven't done this already, I ask that you please sneak into your family's computer room and not bother to lock the door. Open Internet Explorer, wait 20 minutes for your favorite site to load, and stare longingly into the eyes of your big titty goth GF. When your mom inevitably barges in on you, jump up in surprise because you've already unzipped your pants, so why not dick slap those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can? And, as always, until next time,